Welcome back to day 2, equation of a circle. I labeled these hard problems in your packet because I feel like these are the kinds of problems that really frustrate students. If you read the first sentence, it says, sometimes we don't know the center or the radius or both. And at first, it might seem like, hey, we cannot write this equation, but we still can. We just have to try some other methods. So I'm going to be showing you a few different types of problems, some where we know the center, but we don't know the radius. We're going to start out with those first. But what we will know is another point on the edge of the circle. So what's that mean? We're going to know the center, and then we're going to know another point, but we're not going to know the R. And there is going to be a way for us to do this. It's just going to take a few steps. So the notes are going to be super important that we follow the steps. All right, so I'm going to scroll down here. It says exercise or example 2, write an equation using the center and a point. So it says that the center point is -2, 4, and I'm going to label that. That's my H and my K. So I'm still dealing with an H and a K, but now I have a point that it passes through. So if I were going to graph this, -2, 4, that's my center, and -6, 7, it's a circle that kind of looks like this, and I'm probably not going to be able to get it all on the screen, but that's what it looks like. We just don't know what this R is. So if we knew that R, we'd be really happy, but there are some ways we can do this. So step 1, writing the equation using the center point HK that is given. Notice we don't know R. So I'm going to write, Mrs. Lucas, she likes to write the standard form. Keeps her brain on track. Okay. Now my H is -2. So X minus -2 will look like a plus because of the two negatives. Y minus K, Y minus 4 equals R squared. And I mean, we didn't really do too bad. We've already got the whole left-hand side of the equation completed. So we can't do any more as far as simply filling in R squared because we don't know R. But what we do know is this other point, and it has an X coordinate and it has a Y coordinate. And I'm going to label them that. I'm going to label them as X and Y. And maybe some of you are starting to see where we're going at this point, but what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be substituting. Step 2, using the point -6, 7 in the problem. Plug it into the equation you wrote. Put -6 in for X, because that's the X coordinate, and 7 in for Y. That's the Y coordinate. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take that equation, where I see X, I'm going to put a -6. So that's kind of messy, I'm sorry. Where I see Y, I'm going to put a 7. Now I've just substituted those two values in. And now the only variable that I have, that's all numbers on the left-hand side. The only variable that I have is R squared. So I can go over to my Desmos calculator, type that in, and figure out what R squared is. So let me just start typing it. And I am going to type it exactly the way I wrote it. Oops, if I could type the right parentheses there. -6 plus 2 squared. That's the first part. And then 7 minus 4 plus 7 minus 4 squared. And you get 25. So let's go write that down in our notes. This part, oops, I guess it would help if I had a pen. There we go. On the left-hand side, Desmos said 25. On the right-hand side, we have r squared. Well, that's really pretty helpful because if you think about it, we're trying to write the equation of the circle. And what are we missing? What are we missing here? We're missing r squared, but hey, we now have r squared calculated. So I'm going to rewrite my final equation. Let me just scroll up a little bit for you. So I'll have x plus 2 plus unsquared y minus 4 squared equals the r squared value of 25. And I have my equation. That part is complete. So what I basically had to do, just to summarize, was I had to start writing the formula, and then I had to substitute this point that was on the edge of the circle. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this another step. We're actually going to graph the circle. We're going to plot the center and then the radius. But the thing that's a concern for me is that I don't really know what the radius is. I know that r squared is 25, but that's not the radius, that's the radius squared. So remember, we have to take the square root of that to get the r. We have to go backwards. And if we don't know what that is off the top of our head, that is okay because we can do it really quickly. The radius is 5. So our center, they told us, is -2, 4. So we're going to start at the origin and go -2, 4, up 2, 3, 4. That's our center point. Now, if we want to plot this, we've got to go 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to go 5 in the other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pretty sloppy, Miss Lucas. Sorry about that. And then we're going to go back to the center and go up 5. And then we're going to go back to the center and go down 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we have the widest parts. Now this isn't going to be beautiful, but it ain't going to be too bad. So you can see that we have a center at -2, 4. And I wonder, is that point, remember that point that they gave us at the very beginning? Where is that point? -6, 7. Let's see where that point is. -6, 7. Check that out. See how I can check my answer? And I can see that that point is, in fact, right on the edge, right on the outer boundary of the circle. Okay, so when we come back here in just a moment, we are going to try another one just like that. Okay, and then what we're going to do is look at another special case in a couple of minutes. Okay, thank you so much, guys. See you in a moment.